Hybe is under fire after refusing to address Jin BTS's sudden disappearance following his performance with Coldplay. Fans are demanding the truth behind the company's silence and what really happened backstage. Why did Hybe stay silent after the world watched Jin BTS disappear in real time from one of the most emotional live stages of his career? Why was there no official explanation, no press release, no footage? Nothing? And now, why are armies turning against the very company that helped bring their beloved group to global fame? Because silence can be powerful, but it can also be suspicious. It's been weeks since Jin BTS stood beside Coldplay on a Seoul stage, sang "The Astronaut" with trembling vocals and tearful eyes, then quietly vanished before the stadium lights could rise again. What should have been a triumphant return became a haunting mystery. Fans weren't just heartbroken, they were confused, and in that confusion, one question took center stage. Why is Hybe not saying anything, while Coldplay posted a warm thank you message and global fans flooded social media with tributes? The agency that represents Jin, Hybe, released only a cold, single-sentence statement. "We are grateful to Coldplay for the collaboration. Jin has returned to resume his military duties." No videoed, no post, no tribute, no answers. That was the first red flag, because Hybe is not known for understatement. They've produced entire documentaries around lesser events. They've crafted months-long campaigns around comebacks. But for one of the most shocking, viral, and emotional moments in K-pop history, they had nothing to say. Fans noticed. And they started digging. What they found raised even more questions. Insiders who spoke to Korean media outlets on the condition of anonymity revealed that Jin's performance with Coldplay may not have been fully sanctioned by all parties within the agency. While it had been arranged in close collaboration with the South Korean military under a rare cultural exemption clause, Hybe allegedly struggled internally with how to present, or even acknowledge, the performance to the public, according to one insider. The company didn't expect the emotional fallout. They thought fans would appreciate the surprise and move on. Instead, they created an emotional vacuum. Another source claimed there was concern that if Hybe pushed Jin's appearance too hard, it might draw unwanted attention to military policy. So they backed off. Completely. But for ARMY, the silence was louder than any scandal. In forums, on TikTok, on Twitter, and across Weverse, fans began sharing screenshots of Hybe's press room. No mention of Jin. They searched the company's official YouTube, no Coldplay content. Even BTS's official social media pages barely acknowledged the moment. It was almost as if it didn't happen. And that's when the accusations began. Under hashtags like #Hybe explain this and #ProtectJin, fans demanded clarity. Not to stir controversy, but because they deserved transparency. They had cried with him, sung with him, watched him disappear. And now they were being told to simply forget. One fan wrote, "This was bigger than a concert. This was a message, a moment of healing." And Hybe didn't just ignore it, they erased it. Another tweeted, "We're not asking for a marketing campaign. We're asking for respect." The outrage wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. Fans began organizing petitions demanding that Hybe release full footage of Jin's Coldplay performance, explain the real reason behind his sudden disappearance, acknowledge fan letters that appeared on screen during "The Astronaut," honor Jin's artistic contributions with an official statement or tribute as of this writing. One petition on Change.org has garnered over 500,000 signatures in under 2 weeks, and what of Hybe's response? Nothing, even as. The story made headlines in international outlets. Did Hybe try to downplay Jin BTS's most emotional moment? Fans demand answers after Jin's one-song exit. The company remained silent. So silent, in fact, that some armies began speculating that Jin's performance was intentionally ghosted by Hybe due to internal disagreements over timing, media coverage, or even tensions over military policy. Is that true? No one knows. And that's the problem, because in the absence of answers, theories fill the void. And when it comes to someone as deeply loved as Jin, theories turn into fury. Perhaps most haunting was a post shared by a Korean fan on Weverse. If Hybe can't celebrate him now, when he returned from silence, when he stood on stage alone, when he gave us the closure they never provided, then maybe they never understood him at all. Still, others called for calm. Some fans urged the fandom not to turn against the company that had helped bring BTS to the world stage. They reminded fellow armies that military regulations are complex and public silence doesn't always mean betrayal. But even those voices admitted the emotional damage was done, because Jin didn't ask for a parade. He didn't need cameras or lights or promotions. All he needed was acknowledgement, a gesture, a word, a thank you. Instead, he sang with Coldplay, said nothing, and vanished into the quiet. And now, that quiet is echoing through the fandom, not because of what Jin did, but because of what Hybe didn't do. And that silence is louder than ever. As hours turned into days and Hybe's silence persisted, something inside the fandom snapped. This wasn't just about missing press coverage anymore. This was about erasure. And fans weren't going to let it happen. INA movement, now being dubbed the Invisible Astronaut campaign, armies across the globe began flooding Hybe's official platforms with a single question, posted again and again like digital graffiti. Why did you pretend he wasn't there? Their anger wasn't abstract. It was directed, calculated, emotional. Because for the first time, it felt like the agency that once prided itself on artist-first philosophy was deliberately downplaying the most emotional performance a BTS member had given in years on TikTok. Creators uploaded side-by-side comparisons. Jin's stage with Coldplay versus Hybe's homepage. One was a moment of raw vulnerability that had the world in tears. The other? A corporate page with zero mention of it, as if it never happened. The contrast was chilling. Some fans began referring to Hybe's behavior as soft censorship. Others used a harsher word, betrayal. Even Korean netizens, who are often more conservative in tone, began voicing concern. Jin bled on that stage, one user wrote on Naver, and Hybe looked away. But the most controversial moment came not from the fans, but from within the BTS ecosystem itself. During a brief live stream, J-Hope, currently fulfilling his own military service, played a Coldplay instrumental softly in the background. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. The comments exploded. Armies immediately recognized the melody, the astronaut. He let it play for 45 seconds, then ended the stream. Intentional or not, the message was clear. We remember. Even if they won't say it, we will. That live stream, just 58 seconds long, was screenshotted, subtitled, clipped, and reposted more than 10 million times in 24 hours. Meanwhile, Jin's Coldplay performance continued to spread like wildfire, ironically fueled by Hybe's refusal to amplify. YouTube compilations titled "Hybe tried to hide this performance" and Jin BTS, the stage they don't want you to see, began racking up millions of views. Independent K-pop commentators released full breakdowns of the industry politics behind Jin's sudden departure. Some suggested the company was concerned about blowback from the Ministry of Defense. Others theorized that it was Hybe's strategy to prevent oversaturation before BTS's official group return. But most fans weren't interested in politics. They just wanted one thing: validation. They wanted their pain acknowledged, their loyalty respected, their art seen. And that's when the situation took another sharp turn. A fan-organized digital protest, #JinDeservesMore, began trending worldwide. The campaign involved fans voluntarily blacking out their profile photos, refusing to engage with Hybe-related posts for 48 hours, and instead circulating clips, edits, and quotes from Jin's Coldplay performance. IT wasn't anti-BTS. IT wasn't even anti-Hybe. IT was a global cry for remembrance. If Hybe won't document it, then we will. If Hybe won't archive this moment, we'll engrave it into history ourselves. And that's exactly what they began doing to fan-run platforms like the Astronaut Archive, Moonlight seokjin Project, and Jinverse launched a coordinated effort to create a permanent digital museum dedicated solely to that one performance. From high-definition footage to translations of his on-screen fan letters, to AI-enhanced audio and personal reactions from armies across 70-plus countries, it was all being collected, preserved, and immortalized. Because if Hybe wouldn't honor it, the fandom would. In interviews with Western media, Army spokespersons shared how the event changed their perspective. For years, we supported everything Hybe gave us. But now we realize we're the ones who keep the memory alive, not them. And that realization led to an even bigger question. What will happen when Jin returns for real? Will Hybe control the narrative again? Will they downplay his solo efforts in favor of pushing group promotions? Will they once more deny fans the emotional transparency they crave? Or will this backlash serve as a wake-up call? If nothing else, the aftermath of Jin's performance with Coldplay has proven one undeniable truth. The connection between artist and fandom is no longer mediated by labels. IT lives in shared moments, unspoken promises, one song, and one silence. So what now? Will Hybe finally break their silence and address the controversy?